Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to do a simple experiment that's a great sensory. It's not messy. Now, what you need is a big bowl and then probably another Tupperware container to pour this into. I've put a towel on my surface because this could get a little wet. Not really very much. You need water. You need some dish soap. And then added things are vinegar, baking soda, food coloring, and then a simple machine, a mix master. I'm using a Moulin X with the whisk attached. You can just use a whisk with your child, but I think it's great to show children how simple machines work. It's great for language development. It also gives a child a sense of responsibility. Now, of course, you supervise all these activities, and you could use a mix master. Mine's a great big one, so I haven't, but a handheld mix master. As I say, a simple whisk. But it's really fun to show children how to use simple machines. It teaches them responsibility, but also a skill. And of course, we're going to supervise this. So I'm going to pour some water. I'm not going to pour a lot of water, about a half a cup, into my bowl. And then I'm going to let my child, because I took a turn with the water, their turn to put in a little bit of dish soap, not a lot. And then we're simply going to turn on our machine and start to mix. And what your child's going to notice is that bubbles are forming, a lot of bubbles. And the more we mix it, the more bubbles form. And why is that? Because we're putting air into it, very similar to making egg whites. So now I have a large bowl of bubbles and water at the bottom. But if I keep mixing, that's going to become just bubbles. So that's a lot of fun for children, just to keep using the Mix Master or Moulin X. Now I'm going to add a little vinegar and a little baking soda. Not a lot of either. And I'm going to take my whisk or my handheld mix master or my Moulin X, and I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to see what happens. My bubbles are getting thicker and it's growing much thicker. And now, some people call this elephant bubbles. You'll find out that your bubbles are thicker. Now, at this point, you can see my bubbles are really nice and thick. I could add a little food coloring. I could add a little red in one spot. And now my child's turn. They could add a little green over here, depending what coloring you have at your house. There's no rules for this, and I'm going to use my mix master. My child is again to make it, to mix the colors up. And children will stay with this for a long time. My Moulin X is a little old, and so it doesn't work quite as well as it should, but I'm doing the best I can. You can see my bubbles are growing and growing and growing. When your child tires of this, which they may not for ages, you can let them simply play in the bubbles. It's a lovely feel. It's not messy. There's not very much water left in here, and I could have even added less water. My bubbles are just delightful. It's a very calming activity on a cold winter's day, maybe when you can't really get outside. It would also make a great story to make up with your child about how you started whipping the bubbles and they grew and grew and grew, and soon your whole kitchen counter was covered in bubbles. And then your floor, and then right up to the ceiling. And what could you do? You could see yourself walking through the bubbles. That's imaginary play. That's dramatic play, where we're making up a story about something that happened and we're embellishing it. So this is just a lovely activity. It's a STEAM activity, of course, but it's also very sensory, very calming, and it could easily be turned into a lovely dramatic play with just a little imagination, which all children have. As I say, you may want to pour this into a bigger Tupperware container. It's not very messy, and it certainly doesn't get your child very wet. And the cleanup is really pouring it down the sink, and that also helps clean your sink because it's dish detergent, baking soda, and vinegar. All ingredients I know you have in your own household. Try this today with your child because it's certainly a cold winter day and maybe a day when it's nice to think of something calming to do in the house. Bye, everyone.